Alrighty guys, here we go. We have been traveling Tasmania for a month in our rooftop tent, and if you're looking to travel Tasmania, thinking about it, maybe you're in the middle of, this is the video for you because we're going through the do's, the don'ts, what we've packed, what we wished we packed, what we didn't pack, the things we've missed over time, but also some of the amazing places that we've been in our rooftop tent, even, and you know, the pros and cons.
Petrol, how much we spent on petrol, you name it, we're going to cover it in this video. So let's drive straight into it and go straight to the tent. So we traveled for a month in Tasmania in our LU cab tent. It was terrific. We loved it. Every bit of it.
We have used this tent for quite a few years now, so we've kind of tweaked it along the way. We've put an extra foam mattress in. If you're wanting to know more of the insights about the tent, we do have a YouTube video all about the LU cab tent.
So the 270-degree awning made it super easy with no pegs, no poles, no legs, no stuff like that. It is just 2 seconds. We found ourselves setting it up every single day, so it just meant we could pull it around, connect it, done. The LU cab is also a great awning. We've really tested it. Sometimes there was 30, 40-kilometer winds coming off the lake, and at those times we had to put the legs down and put the ropes on, but it absolutely kept the sun off us, which is a beaten thing, and some of the days where we had rain or dew kept us dry. What we didn't need was the walls. So we packed like 3 different walls for this thing, not knowing was it going to be private, was it going to be rainy, wet, windy, we didn't know. So we packed all the wall kits that we have, and we didn't use absolutely any of them. So if it was wetter, probably would have been handier, but in our situation, it just took up space that we didn't need.
So we did pack a shower, which I think we used once. Again, we park near lakes, rivers, beaches, so we generally go for a wash or fill up a bucket of water and have a rinse near camp. So we did use the shower once. If you are a person that likes to shower every single day and feel maybe a little bit fresher, and maybe don't like to swim and get cold in the rivers and lakes here in Tassie, I would definitely recommend to figure out some kind of heater or shower system. But for us, we used our shower system once. It's basically like just a dunk in the bucket, and again, it was mostly cold water, but that served us pretty well. We probably wouldn't take it next time because again, we only used it once and the space will be needed for something else. So water, we have a 50-litre tank on board plus an additional 10-litre tank. This probably lasted us about a week and a half, which was pretty good. We always obviously camp nearby lakes, rivers and the beach, so we always have really good access to water to do the dishes, give ourselves a rinse if we need it, or a wash. So we didn't really tap into any of our onboard water to do dishes or cleaning. If you were to be doing that, I would be going like an 80, 90, 100 litre tank, but can be a little bit hard obviously if you're just running a single car and a rooftop tent, because space can be hard to find.
But there's lots of water over here, guys, so we just found ourselves swimming in rivers, streams and under waterfalls, you name it. So
the water is so much better quality than the tap water anyway.
100%. So we found 60 litres to be ample. Like there's a lot of places where we could have filled up. We just used wiki camps. 60 was absolutely ample. I wouldn't travel with any less than 40, but like Danica said, if you want to shower and stuff with it, 60 wouldn't have been enough. So.
Yeah. All right, so what bedding we have packed in Tassie. So I was quite prepared. I looked at the overnight lows and we were really, really lucky. So we have been traveling from end of Jan to end of February. So it's still pretty warm here. So overnight lows were like between 8, 12, 13 degrees. So usually if we're camping in winter, we would pack super thick sleeping bags, but we have just packed a flannelette fitted sheet, a flannelette flat sheet, and then just a basic doona. So, and we weren't cold. We were finding ourselves opening up windows and flicking off the doonas at night. So if you're thinking about camping in the summer here in Tassie, just some sheets and a basic doona. Don't worry about packing too much bedding or a big sleeping bag.
We have a couple of different collapsible buckets, and we would not travel without them. We use them every single day. You're either brushing your feet, you're either brushing your teeth, you're washing your feet, you're doing dishes. The collapsible buckets, putting fish in them. I had an absolute bucket full of flathead. At one stage, I probably had like 20 odd flathead in a bucket. So, collapsible bucket. No brainer.
Yeah,
you at least need 2 of them for different occasions. We do have the Self-Fire Go unit on the vehicle, and it actually didn't work that well. It works relatively well in Victoria and South Australia and a lot of other places we do some traveling. If you've got 1 bar of service, it does help, but over here in Tasmania, it was either no service at all or service. So we found that wasn't a really handy inclusion. Now, we do run an online business, and as long as we know we have or haven't got service, it's okay. But if you guys are trying to run an online business like we do, I would recommend maybe looking further, maybe going Starlink, or just enjoying some tranquility with no phone service.
Before our trip, we kind of spoke to a few people that have been traveling Tassie or had been about a toilet. So we took one because we got told that a lot of camps you've got to be self-sufficient. So we did a lot of free camps, we did a few paid, and there have been ample toilets over here in Tasmania, which is great to know.
Or not a requirement that you needed to have one. So next time, or if we're coming again, or from advice from us to you, would be not to pack a toilet unless you want one.
Yeah.
You do not need one over here.
Absolutely. And yeah, the camps that we stayed in, you didn't require to be self-sufficient. So it worked out really well. So that's definitely something that we won't pack next time. We'll have a lot more room. And who wants to be changing toilet bags and go to dump points anyway?
Now, we do have a real deal fishing rod holder on top of the car, which is 2 seconds to clip rods on and off. Although I made the fatal mistake, I only brought 2 fishing rods.
Just keep in mind, this was never a fishing trip, but I think our first 2 weeks, Shannon fished every day. Look, I wasn't complaining because he was catching a lot of fish, some flathead, so we have enjoyed some beautiful meals, but I think 2's fine.
No. So I packed 1 rod with bait, for lures, one bait for fishing with hooks and sinkers, using a bait rod. And then I packed another rod for lures, I should have packed a 3rd rod. I was constantly going between the sea and the river. So, 6-pound line and lures for the river, and then big heavy line for out in the ocean. I should have packed 3 rods, an ocean bait rod, an ocean lure rod, and a river rod. My mistake.
And talking about fishing as well, so we usually take the boat with us. Again, we camp a lot back home in Victoria around lakes and rivers, so we're always taking the boat. So therefore we can take more rods, but in this case we haven't brought the boat. So Shannon actually invested into a paddleboard, and he has used that for his boat. I have sometimes been the trolling motor on the paddle, letting him troll behind me, but the paddle boards have been an absolute must. It just allows you to explore, like especially in a rooftop tent, pros and cons to every camping setup, but a rooftop tent, once you're set up, you're there. So if you are nearby a river or a lake, it still allows you to explore the waterways and get to other spots. One thing that we'll definitely be getting next time is an air compressor, like attachment to bloody pump them up. We have got a pretty good arm workout over the last month, continually pumping up our paddle boards and deflating them and pumping them up again. It's been Shannon's favorite chore. But paddle boards are a really great thing to take anywhere with you. We just have ours on our, what is it called?
Roof rack.
On our roof rack. So really, really handy to take, and especially the inflatable ones, super easy.
So your pantry, Dal.
So we've got a drawer system in this car, and one of the drawers is for our pantry. We probably like to take more food than most. I love cooking, and I'm sure so many people can relate, but we eat so much better when we're camping than at home. I get a little bit experimental, I suppose. So we've got the pantry here in our drawers, and we have an additional box that lives inside the car with food in it. So this has worked out pretty good. Probably want to use an additional drawer for a pantry, and now that we know we don't need like the toilet, we don't need the awning walls, we're going to probably have more space. We're going to set up our gas cooker somehow underneath the tray or in the back of the ute as well, so we'll have more space for an additional pantry, because you can never have enough food when you're camping, I reckon. Over in this drawer I've got all my utensils. Again, we kind of take pretty limitless stuff. We've got 2 bowls, basically like 2 forks, 2 spoons, 2 knives, a couple of fry pans, 4 plates, 1 pot without a lid, a couple of stubby holders, and a couple of mugs. So pretty basic, and a kettle, of course. Pretty basic, but we haven't been cooking and thought, okay, shit, I need a grater or a sieve or anything like that. You kind of just make it work when you're camping, and a couple of chopping boards. So that has been absolutely perfect. We also have this additional pull-out chopping board. We have worked at this as well. It's perfect stand-up desk height. So we just have a twin burner with a small gas bottle, as well as an additional backup. So our gas bottle is 1.25 kilos, and that we figured out lasted us about 7 to 8 days.
Yeah.
And we cook generally 3 meals a day. We've got coffee going. We're maybe boiling some water to do dishes and stuff like that. So I wouldn't go with less than a twin burner or two like individual ones. But in terms of the gas, we are again going to do some more mods. So we are going to want to go like a 2 to 4 kilogram gas bottle and hook it up on our car somewhere underneath the tray or on the back, just to eliminate space, because that does currently live in our drawers.
So to recap, we used a 1.25. It was enough. Certainly, we enjoyed our trip, but we probably would have liked a little bit bigger because we found after a week we were sort of looking for gas, like where can we get gas, and those bottles aren't necessarily easy to fill.
Correct.
And we're diving into our emergency bottle to use. So
definitely take an emergency bottle.
So mosquitoes, we brought over repellent, we bought citronella candles, we bought little 12 volts bug catchers, you name it, we bought it all. The mosquitoes actually weren't that bad. There was a couple of times where they were bad, but not really. Like, no.
Yeah.
We went above and beyond.
Compared to like Victoria, where we camp, it was kind of like normal. I wouldn't say that they were extremely bad.
Just a bit of repellent, you'll be fine.
Yeah.
So this hammock, I'm not sure if it was a gift or what. We've actually had it for years. This hammock has been everywhere in Australia that we have been. I'm trying to find the logo for you guys to see. It's a Two Trees hammock, not a paid sponsorship, but we take this hammock everywhere with us in Australia. It's absolutely incredible. It just hangs up from anywhere, whether it's the bull bar, whether it's a tree. It cops a lot of wind, a lot of sun, and a lot of buttocks. We do a lot of reading, sleeping, and relaxing in this thing. And it actually packs up really conveniently. It just literally scrunches inside of its bag with its hooks, with its absolutely everything, and takes up no room in the car. So it literally packs away to nothing, and we just put that absolutely anywhere. So the hammock has been a must for us when traveling Tasmania. So the air compressor, we have a portable air compressor. When we get back, we will be doing a permanent mounted one, but like Tanika said, it is a new vehicle. It saved us actually. We got 2 punches over here in the same tyre, 1 screw, 1 nail.
A week in between.
Yeah, so having an air compressor is a must because...
And a puncture repair kit.
And a puncture repair kit, because absolutely anything can happen on the road. So, you know, air compressor, jump pack, solar panel, solar blanket.
Yeah, those kind of things are
tools,
a necessity.
Yeah, that sort of stuff is just a basic. You should have some basic stuff like that if you're traveling for more than a week, or in Tasmania it can be somewhat secluded. So unless you want to spend a bit of time broken down on the side of the road, that's sort of a given to pack that sort of stuff. So guys, as we mentioned earlier, phone reception was pretty ordinary here in Tasmania for a lot of the times. And a lot of days, we didn't know where we were going until that day when we would look at a map and be like, where are we going to go? Where are we going to stay next? And when there's no phone service, that's pretty tough. So I'd really recommend downloading an offline maps or having a HEMA maps or even a paper map. Have something so when there's no phone service, you can still sort of come up with a plan on where you're going to go and how you're going to get there.
Definitely. One thing we wished we had have packed is an axe. So when we do a lot of camping back home, again, we usually have our boat, so we take our own wood or we'll take our chainsaw. But an axe would be super handy just for like fires. Again, you don't really have a lot of fires on the East Coast because you need like a permit, which we didn't bother. But here on the West, we have enjoyed some fires, but we just haven't been able to get like decent wood. So definitely an axe, would recommend to bring one with you.
Hey guys, so one question we know will get asked is how much did we spend on fuel? Okay, so we've been traveling around in our rooftop tent. We've got a big heavy vehicle. It's a 3-litre Hilux. It's got 33-inch tires. They're big heavy muddies, and we still don't know how much we spent on fuel. So we're actually going to put it below because we're still not home. We're still over here enjoying Tasmania. We're going to put it below in a little box right about here, how much we spent on fuel while traveling around Tasmania.
And we did like the full loop. So we landed in Devonport on the ferry. We went the north, east coast, down the entire east coast, all the way down past Hobart, down to Cockle Creek, basically to the most southern part of Tasmania, back up through kind of the middle to the west, and back up to the north, back onto the ferry. So we basically did the whole lap. We did backtrack a little bit, but yeah, check out below for the fuel cost.
So that's traveling Tasmania for 1 month in our rooftop tent. Some do's, some don'ts, what worked, what didn't work, what we would do differently next time. Absolutely everything.
100%. So don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel. We have so much more coming for you guys. A lot of Tasmania, but so much more in the near future. We have a lot of exciting news to come this year. Enjoy.